So the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s have a longer lasting battery life and they have a built-in voice assistant, but more importantly, the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s have a lot of bass to them, like too much bass. Now the Sony WH-XB910Ns also have a lot of bass to them, but just not as much bass as the Skullcandy. But unlike the Skullcandies, the XB910Ns can be used as a pair of daily drivers, whereas the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s are better suited as a pair of secondary headphones. Nonetheless, today we're going to compare the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s to the Sony XB910Ns, and we're going to see which ones are right for you. Regarding pricing, the Sony WH-XB910Ns have a retail price of $250, but now they like to go on sale for $180, and on major shopping holidays they can be found for less. Whereas the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s have a retail price of $230, but I would wait for them to go on sale before picking them up. Nonetheless, if you want to pick either of these two headphones up, they'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button. And if you want to further support the channel, pick up a Big Head approved hat, link down below. We've got trucker hats and snapbacks. By buying a hat, you help the unbiased and unsponsored videos coming, and it also helps us cover more products and produce more versus videos. Thank you to everyone who's already bought a hat, and look out for more designs coming soon. And also, please remember to hit that like button and let's get subscribed. Now first, let's talk about these included cases. Now both of these headphones come included with a decently sized hard shell case, so they're going to keep your headphones well protected even if you stuff them into a cramped backpack. And more importantly, since these cases are decently small, traveling with these cases isn't a hassle like with the Sony WH-1000XM5's case or the Sennheiser Momentum Force case. But these cases are a little larger than your Sony XM4's case or Bose's cases. Nonetheless, there are zero complaints here regarding the cases on both of these headphones. But with the cases out of the way, let's talk about the headphones themselves. Regarding fit, these headphones are very different from one another, and this can actually be a deciding factor for some people. Now, both of these headphones are Big Head approved. However, the Sonys do have less clamping force than the Skullcandy, giving you a looser fit. But also, there's the headband on these headphones. The padding on the headband on the Sony is noticeably softer than the padding on the headband found on the Skullcandy. So, the headband on the Sonys don't create a hot spot on the top of your head like with the Skullcandy. But then there are the ear pads on both of these headphones. Now the ear pads on both of these headphones are very spacious and they should have no problem accommodating most ear types. But I prefer the ear pads on the Sony because their padding is softer, whereas the ear pads on the Skullcandy are stiffer. But with the Skullcandy, since these ear pads have less surface area coming in contact with your skin, these ear pads stay cooler for longer, whereas the Sonys can heat up noticeably faster. But perhaps the biggest difference between these two headphones is their weight. The Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s weigh in at 332 grams, which is up there because for comparison's sake, the Sennheiser Momentum 4s weigh in at 295 grams, the Beats Studio Pros weigh in at 260 grams, the Bose QC Ultra and Sony 1000XM4s weigh in at 255 grams, the Sony XB910Ns weigh in at 252 grams, the Sony 1000XM5s weigh in at 250 grams, and then there are the Bose QCs which weigh in at 235 grams. So the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s are very noticeable when they're on your head, and you really notice them shifting around when you're walking around with them on. Whereas the XB910Ns, since these are so much lighter, they're easy to forget that you're wearing. So plainly said, the Sonys are a lot more comfortable than the Skullcandies because they're a lot lighter and they have a softer padding. And they also have a slightly looser fit as well. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about tech specs. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s simply win here. Now, the Crushers have an advertised battery life of 50 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on. And with their active noise cancellation turned off, they can go for as long as 60 hours, which is both very impressive and above average. Whereas the Sonys have an advertised battery life of 30 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on, and with their active noise cancellation turned off, they can go for as long as 38 hours, which is also very good, but it's just nowhere near the Skullcandy Crusher ANC 2s. And when it comes to charging these headphones, both of these headphones charge via a USB-C port as they should. But this USB-C port is strictly used for charging. You can't use the USB-C port on either of these two headphones as a wired connection. However, both of these headphones still have an audio jack, and they do come included with an audio cable, so you can use them with a wired connection if you want to. And I know this sounds very basic, but this is something that I do have to point out because some headphones out there are starting to come out without audio jacks. Now, when it comes to connectivity, both of these headphones can be connected to any two Bluetooth devices at the same time, which is good if you're a power user because you can easily hot swap from one device to another regardless of ecosystem. So you can be connected to your iPhone and jump over to your PC with either of these two headphones. And when it comes to overall performance, both of these headphones have zero latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device. But when it comes to audio codecs, the Crusher ANC2s only have support for SBC and AAC, which is fine. But the XB910Ns have support for SBC, AAC, and LDAC, which is Sony's own in-house high-res audio codec. Just keep in mind that if you do want to take advantage of LDAC, you do have to be an Android user because iPhones top out at AAC. And also, if you do decide to use LDAC on the XB910Ns, that is going to take an additional toll on the battery life. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about sound. Now, both of these headphones are targeted towards bass heads because both of these headphones have a lot of bass to them. But simply put, the Crushers have a lot more bass than the Sonys, and it's not even close. With the Crushers, it's like having a rumble pack strapped to your head, and they are going to rattle your head so much that your teeth will literally chatter. So with these headphones, you're really going to be able to feel your music, and if you watch a movie with these headphones, they are going to add an extra level of immersiveness because they're like having a subwoofer strapped to your head. But more importantly, the bass on these headphones sounds good. It's tight and it's well controlled. But the thing about this bass is that it can get old after a while. Now, you can use these headphones with their bass turned off, but with their bass turned off, these headphones don't have the best instrument separation and they put an emphasis on the vocals. So this is why I feel these are better suited as a pair of secondary headphones. Their bass is a lot of fun, but it can get old. And if you try to use these headphones with their bass turned off, they don't sound all that good. But then there are these Sony XB910Ns. Now, these headphones have a lot of bass and you're also going to be able to feel your music. But these just don't have anywhere near as much teeth-shattering bass as the Skullcandy. The bass on the Sony is fun, but it's not overkill like with the Skullcandy. But more importantly, with the Sonys, if you don't want to use their bass, you don't have to. You can use them like a normal pair of headphones. Now, the XB910Ns still sound a little narrow and their instrument separation isn't amazing, but it is better than the Skullcandys. So whether you like a neutral sound signature or a vocals focused sound signature, these will be able to satisfy you much better than the Skullcandy. So overall, the Skullcandies are great if you want an unnecessary amount of bass in your music because they will make your teeth chatter, but all of that bass can get old after a while. Whereas with the Sonys, these might not have as much bass, but they still have a lot of bass, and if you want to use them with their bass feature turned off, they still sound decent. Now, when it comes to the MIDI controls on these headphones, the Sonys are using a touchpad, and this touchpad is very easy to use and it's very accurate, but I know some people just don't like touchpads on their headphones. So the Skullcandies are using physical buttons. Now, these buttons are very easy to find and they're easy enough to tell apart, but I would have liked if they had a better click to them. But something the Crusher ANC2s do have over the Sonys is that they do have their own dedicated voice assistant, so you can control your bass, active noise cancellation, and ambient mode settings alongside your media with just your voice. The thing with Skull IQ though is you do have to have the Skull IQ app running in the background of your phone, and personally I don't think that many people will be using Skull IQ because I do feel that saying, "Hey Skullcandy," does feel a little awkward. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones. Now, the active noise cancellation on the Crusher ANC2s is a bit of a disappointment for a pair of headphones in late 2023, whereas the ANC on the XB910N is acceptable because these are 2 years old now. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test.
ANC on.
So like you have just seen, the Sony WH-XB910Ns block out a little more noise than the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s. Now, both of these headphones block out an okay amount of noise for a pair of mid-tier ANC headphones, but obviously, they don't block out nearly as much noise as a pair of premium ANC headphones like the Bose QC Ultra. But back to the XB910Ns and the Skullcandy, honestly, I'm not impressed by the ANC on the Crusher ANCs because they are being beat by the XB910Ns, which are 2 years old now. So I was expecting better active noise cancellation from the Crushers, but nonetheless, the ANC on both of these headphones is going to be useful on, let's say, your bus ride commute, or if you're in a slightly chatty office, but these wouldn't be my top pick for flying. But also, both of these headphones have an ambient mode, and you can adjust how much noise these headphones let in. But the ambient mode on the Sony sounds a lot more natural than the ambient mode found on the Skullcandy. But also, the Sonys have quick attention, where if you fully cover their touchpad, they'll lower the volume of your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you, so they can talk to someone without having to remove your headphones. And when you let go, the headphones will go back to normal again. And personally, I love when my headphones have this feature because it's super useful, especially if you plan on flying with your headphones. And this is something that the Skullcandy just don't have. But finally, here's the microphone test, and I feel that both of these headphones have decent enough sounding microphones on them to take phone calls with while in a quiet room. Now, I think the Skullcandy sound a little better than the Sonys while in a quiet room. But the Sonys do a slightly better job of dealing with the noise pollution, because right now the XB910Ns are reducing some of this road noise. And for comparison's sake, if we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear all of this road noise. But if we were to switch back over to the Sony XB910Ns, it is slightly reduced. Whereas with these Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s, these are reducing some of this road noise, but it is harder to understand me. And when it comes to blocking out chatter, it's even harder to understand. Now, the Sony XB910Ns aren't blocking out all that much chatter, but it is easier to understand me with these headphones than with the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s. So overall, I do feel that both of these headphones have decent enough sounding microphones on them to take phone calls with while in a quiet room. But I do think the Sonys do a slightly better job of dealing with noise pollution. But with all that being said, if you're trying to choose between the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s and Sony XB910N, these two headphones are meant for bass heads because they both have an above average amount of bass to them. But the bass on the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s is on a whole other level. Now, they have so much bass they will make your teeth chatter, and if you use the Crushers, then you're going to think the Sonys are nothing. But the Sonys are the more responsible choice here, because not only do they also have a lot of bass, they're also a decent pair of daily drivers. Because if you get tired of all of that bass, if you use the Sonys without their bass, they still sound pretty good. They're also a lot more comfortable to wear, and they have the better sounding ambient mode. Whereas with the Skullcandy Crusher ANC2s, these are better suited as a pair of secondary headphones. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.